Do you ever do background checks on your clients, and should you ever do background checks on your clients? The simple answer is yes. There are times when I do conduct a background check on my clients, but there are rules I follow regarding when I do them, what type of background I conduct, and how deep the background check goes. There is one type of background check that I almost always conduct on every client regardless of the situation, and we will discuss that in just a bit. I get a lot of cases involving domestic situations such as divorce, child custody, alimony, maintenance, and other related domestic situations. For these types of cases, domestic investigations, I always ask the client, are there any restraining orders involved in the case? And the answer is sometimes yes. And sometimes the answer is no. It is quite often the case where the court always issues a TRO, a temporary restraining order, against both parties in these types of cases. Usually that TRO stipulates there can be no harassment, stalking, intimidation, or other similar activities from either party. On occasion, there may be stipulations regarding the use or possession of alcohol, drugs, or contact with each other or other special circumstances. Regardless of the answer the client gives me, whether it be yes or no, when I get these, I always conduct a background check on my client to see if there is a restraining order in place. Many times they may not realize there is one as it got lost in the tons of paperwork they received when they were served, and they simply overlooked it. Now, one organization I am pretty sure you do not need to do a background check on is this video's sponsor, and here is a little information about them. This video is sponsored by OREP Insurance and Working PI Magazine. OREP is a leading provider of private investigator liability insurance. Visit orep.org for a quote today. But I have had situations where the client was simply trying to subvert that TRO and hire a PI to find out information regardless of the consequences. And therein lies the challenging word, folks, consequences. If there is a restraining order and you get caught in the middle, you could be found in violation of that restraining order regardless of whether you were made aware of it or not. You as the investigator have a higher standard to live up to and ensure that you are doing what is legal, ethical, and moral. Yes, I know you may be able to go after your client from a civil standpoint if they lie to you and get you in trouble, but that has little benefit if you get charged with stalking and harassment, go to jail, and lose your entire business. Now, when it comes to other civil cases we conduct, like business fraud type cases, we also do a background check on our clients in those cases too. For all our cases, we have our clients fill out a questionnaire form and ask for a lot of different information, including what their suspicions are and what they want us to accomplish for them. In these type of cases, we will also check to make sure there are no pending restraining orders or open cases the client did not disclose. As well, we want to verify the information they provided, such as business partners, managers, employees, and other pertinent details. This again is vitally important to ensure you know what the entire situation looks like before you jump in head first and commit to taking the case. When it comes to criminal matters, we most definitely background check the client. We also only take criminal cases when the attorney hires us directly, not the defendant. I always want to make sure the attorney has the big picture when it comes to his client's history. Most attorneys will pull a background check themselves on the defendant, but they don't always get all of the information, such as out-of-state arrests and convictions. I also want to know if there are restraining orders for this and other cases involving that client. I have had criminal defense cases where the defendant had multiple cases open in multiple jurisdictions with multiple restraining orders, which means there were multiple protected parties. And I need to know whom I can and whom I cannot contact. It doesn't matter if I am working on a different case for the client than the one the restraining order pertains to. If I make contact with that protected party, I may very well be held legally liable for those actions. Now, when it comes to those one-off types of jobs, you know, the quick background checks, skip traces, those things, I also do a background check on those clients too. Again, I am looking to make sure there are no restraining orders. As well, I am trying to verify the information the client provided to me. Did they give me a real name or an alias for their name? Did they tell me about the real relationship between them and the person they want me to investigate? Or are they trying to manipulate the system in any way? We get calls all the time for locates and skip traces that seem very questionable from the get-go. The client seems to be very vague. They have to find an address to get papers served, but the court won't give them papers without a good address and things like that. First off, I have yet to see a court that will not allow a case filing with the last known address and allow service at that or any other location where the respondent can be found. This is a huge red flag to me that someone is just trying to find out someone's address for nefarious purposes. When I get these calls, I keep probing for more information and I inform the client I can do the locate once I can verify the validity of the documents that they have provided to me, and I will be checking for restraining orders related to the matter. Most of the time, this gets the client to say something to the effect of, well, I guess you don't really want my business after all, and then they hang up, and that tells me all that I needed to know. But what about those professional clients? You know, attorneys, lawyers, other private investigators, and the like. Do I do background checks on them too? Well, yes, I do. I want to make sure they don't have a lot of allegations out there for misconduct, have a ton of customers or other PIs suing them for non-payment, and things like that. You might think, well, gosh, they are an attorney. They carry a license. They are a member of the Bar Association or their state PI association. Well, the only professionals who ever did me wrong in the past, who never paid me or whatever, were, well, licensed, insured, and all that jazz. And had I dug a little deeper from the beginning, I would have known to not get involved with them. But we learn from our mistakes. And now I background the professionals too. After they owe you tens of thousands of dollars is not the time to find out they are in the middle of filing a bankruptcy, folks. Now, there is that one background I do for all my clients, regardless of the case, and this is the cursory identity and background check. And I start this often before I ever even talk to the client or right away when I first start talking to them. That is right. When my phone rings as I go to answer the phone or before I return their call, if they left a message, I will pull up something like TPS, True People Search, in a browser. Then I run a reverse lookup on the phone number. Then when I talk to them and the client says, hi, this is Bob from Kansas City, and TPS says the number belongs to Tom and Margie in Omaha, well, I might, keyword might, be a little suspicious. Now, TPS is good when it is good, and it is not so good when it is not so good. Most times it works, but many times it has dated information in it, so keep that in mind. But from there, I can often get an address, relatives, known associates too. So when they start telling me the story, I can jot down that information they're providing to me. I can do some cross-checking with the data that I have right there in front of me. This is huge when it comes to bug sweeps for us. You see, we base our TSCM bug sweep pricing in part on the square footage of the residence or space we're going to be doing the sweep in. Many times I ask the client, how many square feet is your house? And they say, oh, I'm not sure, about 1,500 square foot or so, I guess. But I have the address right there in front of me. So I run the address on the county properties lookup, which will tell me if he owns it or not, and it tells me the square footage too. Or I can run a basic Google search on the address and look at all those real estate sites like Zillow, and they show the square footage. Now, I can price that sweep according to accurate information. So the bottom line is, yes, I background every single client and at some point every single potential client that comes to us. Real quick, I want to send a special shout out to the PI Guy Premium supporters out there. Eric Hutchinson, thank you so much for the 16 months as a premium supporter. Nick STL, thank you, my friend, for the 8 solid months as a premium supporter. And thanks to Eric Lewis for your dedicated 6 months as a premium supporter. I really do appreciate the support. If you would like more information about membership, check out the link down below. If you would like to learn more about background checks conducted by private investigators, then check out this video.